Welcome back, gamers and game mats, to episode 2 of Pixel Peak Season 11.
Why is French Mario so good at predicting the future?
I don't know, Elena. Why is he?
He uses his Luigi board.
That one's pretty good. All right, I have one for you. You ready?
Okay.
How do you get a Bulbasaur on a bus?
How?
You Pokemon.
Oh, there it is.
For this episode, I'll be your host, Kylie Carner.
And I'm your host, Elena Jones. This episode, we are covering not only news, but an indie showcase on Red Strings Club.
A heated debate about the best Nintendo console.
A heated Just Dance battle.
And a retro rewind on Battlefront for the original Xbox.
Cue the intro!
Interesting news out of Gearbox last week. The Embracer Group, the ownership group of Gearbox Software, declared that Gearbox will be up for sale. After a $2 billion deal with the Saudi Arabian Public Investment Fund fell through, the Embracer Group looked for a new potential buyer of the creators of such classics like the Borderlands series and the Half-Life series. The Embracer Group also recently shut down Volition, which was the development company behind Saints Row. So could this mean the end for Gearbox? Time will tell, but let's hope not, because I'm still waiting on Borderlands 4.
Marvel's Avengers by Square Enix continues its incredibly disappointing lifetime one last time. After getting review bombed upon its launch, the game lived on a rocky state of love and hate by its fans for years, even after a large DLC dropped for the game. Even DLC packs that featured such beloved characters like Spider-Man and Black Panther couldn't save this game from the online hate that it got. To get even worse, the ability to buy the game is about to be removed from online stores. Marvel's Avengers, the definitive edition, will be taken off stores on September 30th, but available to anyone who owns it after that date. On a positive note, that for the month of September, the game will be 90% off, so if you're looking to buy it, this really is your last chance. If The Swinging by Spider-Man was as good as the Spider-Man PS4, then maybe I would have played it more.
Mortal Kombat 1 came out September 14th to the excitement of most of the gaming community. The fabled series returned after a 4-year hiatus to fairly solid reviews on most of the modern consoles except for the Nintendo Switch. Mortal Kombat 1 left Nintendo Switch fans with a ton to desire after its release due to its incredibly poor graphic quality and game-breaking glitches that aren't on the other consoles. When Mortal Kombat 2019 was released, it was considered a game-breaking feat that the game launched so well on the Switch, so for this to fail, NetherRealm could have possibly seen it coming. The Switch version of Mortal Kombat 1 is still priced at $70, much to the dismay of gamers online. I'm just hoping it gets patched soon so I get to see Megan Fox's character, Nitara, in ray tracing 120 frames per second.
Speaking of, Spider-Man 2 is easily one of the most anticipated games of 2023, and I personally cannot wait to play it on October 20th. With that being said, we got a new glimpse at the gameplay and the new mechanics on September 15th, and it looks incredible. Insomniac Games announced a whopping 65 new suits, including Venom's suit from the Spider-Man 3 movie, Miles' Prowler costume from the previous games, and so much more. Insomniac will also announce that the map will add the boroughs of Harlem and Queen, which will nearly double the size of the map. To counter how large the map will be, fast travel will be easier to use, and the character will have a wingsuit built in to make traversing the map almost instantaneous. Every ounce of news about this game continues to be excellent, and I can't wait for it to come out.
Wow, that new Spider-Man game sounds awesome. I can't wait to check it out. It sounds so cool.
You know what else is cool? This game that Jack's just been telling me about is called the Red Strings Club.
That's the one you play as a bartender, right?
Oh yeah.
Oh, it sounds awesome. I wish I knew more about it.
Well, you're in luck, because up next is our indie showcase. Jack, take it away.
Released in 2019, Red Strings Club is an atmospheric story-based game deriving of many different timelines. In this game, it is called the Red String Effect. The character you play as is a bartender named Donovan. He is able to weave the red strings of fate through making the best cocktails this cyberpunk world has ever known. Something that immediately makes this game different from other butterfly effect games is that from the very beginning, you know how it has to end. Brandy's falling to his death. For this showcase, I'm your host Jack Thornton, and this time we are going to talk about gameplay as we talk about the story and its characters. Let's enter the club. After seeing a glimpse of the inn, we go back about 48 hours. Cliche, I know, but get over it. While Brandes and Donovan are talking, an Akara android stumbles into the Red Strings Club while on the fritz. Brandes plugs in to see her memories. This is where we get to see our first bit of gameplay along with soft world building. As you play as Akara, the first android that uses empathy to make decisions as she works in the basement of a body modification clinic making mods to benefit people. But will it make them happy? This is also where the game's atmosphere really starts to take hold, and this OST is like none other. After some time, a Proxima revolutionist breaks into the clinic to give you rogue implants to install into supracontinent executives, supracontinent being a so-called evil corporation. Moving on. After this revolutionist hacks for some time, she finds a program called SPW, Social Psyche Welfare. Her saying it aloud triggered a turret to execute her and the Akara unit on the spot, but the unit was able to escape, leading us back to the present. We are introduced to our objective this way, to stop Supercontinent from launching SPW. The program would affect implant wearers, 40% of the population, by never letting them feel a negative emotion. They will be walking, smiling zombies that can't revolt or rebel. This makes Brandes upset because it affects him directly. Donovan cares deeply for his partner and also decides to do his best to gather information. Did I forget to mention that the bartender is an information broker? Yeah, he's cool. We are then moved along to the next part of the game, and the core of it. Fate leads the people Donovan needs to the club, and he has this special gift to be able to mix drinks to his customer's soul. This brings out the emotion he wants to ask the hard questions. People let their guards down and give them the information he needs. Most of the time. You meet many interesting people. Some have history with you and others don't. Some encounters are something straight out of a nightmare. One of my personal favorites is of a smuggler named Ghost. He is infamous for being able to get you anything you want within 24 hours as long as it isn't a weapon or a person. His interaction with the environment really takes the tone in a wild direction for the short screen time he has. Simultaneously, Akara had been fixed up very quickly and was working as your doorman, greeting patrons and keeping surveillance tabs of the club. After every customer, Akara gives you a quiz on the patron that visited. She finds it fun, and so does Donovan. If you get 8 out of 10 questions right, Akara gives you a drug that can be put in someone's drink, it's as bad as it sounds, to give them amnesia. It makes them think that they just sat down at the bar even if they had been there for hours. Personally, I never used them. It felt wrong to spike someone's drink even if I didn't get the optimal line of dialogue that I was looking for. After intel gathering, you learn that SPW will also affect non-implant wearers as well. This makes Donovan upset because it'll affect him too. On top of that, it is going to be silently implemented into mass society. While intel gathering, you hear the side of the corporation too. They describe it as something to not remove negative emotions, but people will feel sad but not depressed, angry but not wrathful, to get rid of suicide and to get rid of murder. Despite this, Donovan also learns Akara is the cell tower to this new SPW. Akara has a conversation with you at the bar. In the case that they fail, how should she use SPW? These questions are heavily touchy subjects. Sometimes your answers could be hypocritical. I asked my co-producer Connor Lim to answer the question, and the contemplation was deep. This game brings forth hard questions in a world where we could maybe see the events of this game one day. Maybe. The end of the game approaches. With the information you have, Brandeis infiltrates the tower and gets into the CTO's office to try to shut down the launch of SPW. This is literally a game of telephone, of calling around the office building with a fake voice, trying to get information and passwords to gain the access you need. This part of the game literally took me an hour. An hour of dialing numbers. Right before the end, the office phone rings, and you are presented with a choice to answer it or to ignore it. Donovan tells you to ignore it. I, of course, answered it. It is the CEO, fully aware of what you are doing, trying to convince you why SPW is good for humanity. The CEO then reveals you have been on SPW this whole time and deactivates it. Brandeis is sent into a literal anxiety attack of the shock of all the emotions that had been suppressed, and you have to try to get out of it. Once you do, if you can hang up, and the corrupt SPW launches, shutting down the whole system. Victory, until Akara shows up. Then another one shows up. And another. And then more. Akara reveals she has been sentient since 2009 and that she has been playing with humanity for decades, not out of hate, but out of curiosity, to see how she can direct humanity. The only thing that would always avert her influence would be the Red Strings Club. She had become enthralled with the ability that somehow Donovan was special and was literally able to weave fate even if it was to a small scale, and so she wanted to see it in person. Security guards then shoot Brandeis out of the window from her stalling and talking. Here we've come full circle back to the beginning of the game. Brandeis calls Donovan to tell him he is about to die, to tell him he loves him, and if the player chooses, to warn him of Akara as his final words. Credits roll, and I have to say, it had been a long time since a game had given me chills like this. I've been your host, Jack Thornton, and thanks for watching. Hello, my little pixels. The debate didn't go very well.
All right, you know what? You can dump on the Wii U all you want, but when it comes down to it, it is the peak. No, the goated Nintendo console. And I could beat you in any game. Your pick.
All right, fine. We challenge you to a Just Dance battle on the Wii U.
So, for the live gameplay this episode, we decided to do Just Dance on the Wii U. the best Nintendo console. However, all that music is copywritten, so I made everybody on the crew sing parodies. Pixel Peak.
Pixel Peak.
Hey, I just met you, and this is crazy, but here's my number, so call me baby. It's hard to look right at your baby, but here's my number, so call me baby. Hey, I just met you, and this is crazy, but here's my number, so call me baby. And all the other boys try to chase me, but here's my number, so call me maybe. You took your time with the call, I took no time with the fall. You gave me nothing at all, but still you're in my way. I beg and borrow and steal, at first I didn't real. I didn't know how I would feel it, but it's in my way. Your hair was holding, ripped jeans, skin was showing. Hot night, wind was blowing, where you think you're going, baby?
We're just gonna dance.
Yeah, Rihanna. Good girl gone bad. Action. There's clouds in my stones. Rain, a hydroplane in the bank coming down with the Dow Jones. So the clouds come, we gone. We Rockefeller, we fly higher than weather, and G5s are better. You know me? And anticipation for precipitation, stack chips for the rainy day. Jay, Rain Man is back. The Little Miss Sunshine, Rihanna, where you at?
When the sun shines, we shine together. Told you I'd be here forever. Said I'd always be your friend. Stuck enough to get out to the end. Under my umbrella. Ella,
Come into me. Distance in between our lines.
Gonna let the rain pour. I'll be all you need and more.
Because it's raining. Oh, baby, it's raining. Baby, come into me. Through a wish in the well. Don't ask me, I'll never tell. I looked at you as it fell, and now you're in my way. Your stare was holding, ripped jeans, skin was showing. Hot night, mine was blowing. Where you think you're going, baby? And all the other boys try to chase me, but here's my number, so call me maybe. Your stare was holding, ripped jeans, skin was showing. Hot night, wind was blowing. Where you think you're going, baby? Hey, I just met you, and this is crazy, but here's my number, so call me maybe. Before you came into my life, I missed you so bad. I missed you so bad. I missed you so bad. Before you came into my life, I missed you so bad, and you should know that. I missed you so bad. Before you came into my life, I missed you so bad. I missed you so bad. I missed you so bad. Before you came into my life, I missed you so bad, and you should know that. So call me maybe. I put on a show, now I make it. You say I'm a kid, my ego is big, but I'll give. And it goes like this. Take me by the tongue and I'll know you. Kiss me till you're drunk and I'll show you. Want the moves like Jagger, you got the moves like Jagger. I got the moves like Jagger. Take control, own me just for the night. But if I share my secret, you're gonna have to keep it. Nobody else can see this. Look into my eyes and I'll own you. Got the moves like Jagger. I got the moves like Jagger. I got the moves like Jagger.
Do we have to spawn in like that? No.
Do we have to materialize like that?
Istanbul was Constantinople, now it's Istanbul. But Constantinople been a long time gone. Constantinople now is Turkish delight on a moonlit night. Even old New York was once New Amsterdam. Why they changed it I can't say. People just liked it better that way. Take me back to Constantinople. No, you can't go back to Constantinople. Been a long time gone. Constantinople, why did Constantinople get the works? That's nobody's business but the Turks. Istanbul. Now it's Istanbul, not Constantinople. Been a long time gone. Constantinople, why did Constantinople get the works? That's nobody's business but the Turks. That's nobody's business but the Turks. Istanbul. I don't know how I beat you. I hit like no yes.
Jumping.
Damn bad guy.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, you killed that.
We are giving our all for App State University.
We nailed that. I think we need to have a rematch, another dance battle.
Okay, speaking of battles, coming up next on a Retro Rewind, Connor Lem is going to talk about Battlefront for the original Xbox.
Roger, Roger.
Ah, the sounds of traveling to a galaxy far, far away. Just listening to this sound brings me back to simpler times. You know, jumping on the trampoline, playing outside, but most importantly, making my parents take me to GameStop so I could get a disc cleaning kit. In this edition of Retro Rewind, we are taking it back to the early to mid 2000s and we'll be discussing the Star Wars Battlefront series for the original Xbox. I will be mainly focusing on the latter release, Star Wars Battlefront 2. It is more developed. Sometimes sequels are better than their predecessors. I mean, Skate 3, Call of Duty Black Ops 2, I might even add Run 2. Anywho, you get the point. Released in 2005, Star Wars Battlefront 2 is a third-person shooter based on the Star Wars film franchise. It also has a first-person option, but I personally think that you're clinically insane if you like using the first person in these games. Sorry, I don't make up the rules. This sequel to the original 2004 Star Wars Battlefront was published by LucasArts and developed by Pandemic Studios. Battlefront 2 was released on the original Xbox, the PlayStation 2, and Microsoft Windows for online play. It also dropped again less than a month later when the Xbox 360 was released in November of 2005, and then eventually released on the PlayStation Store in 2009 for the PSP. One of the best consoles ever. Now time for the meat and potatoes and veggies and food. Battlefront 2 capitalized on what the original Battlefront paved the way for. It introduced new mechanics not in the first game, such as rolling forwards and sprinting. It also brought new land vehicles, ships, characters, maps, and different missions compared to the first Battlefront game. Battlefront 2 goes beyond the original Battlefront single-player mode, while this edition is a story-based campaign narrated from the view of an unidentified 501st clone trooper. That unidentified clone trooper turns out to be voiced by Tamara Morrison himself.
Wasn't it? All that breeding, all those years of training, it doesn't really prepare you for all the screaming or the blood, does it? Frankly,
If you don't know who this is, he is the actor that played Jango Fett and all of the clones in the prequel Star Wars films. I don't know how he was able to be in so many places at once, but he's just that cool. He also played Boba Fett in the Disney series The Mandalorian and The Book of Boba Fett. The campaign is centered around the 501st Legion as the clone unit turns from the Galactic Republic's clone troopers to the Imperial Stormtroopers. If you don't know what the 501st Legion is, they are basically the most infamous unit of clones from the Star Wars franchise, and go from being Anakin Skywalker's clone troopers for the Grand Army of the Republic to Darth Vader's Stormtroopers for the Imperial Army after Chancellor Palpatine issued Order 66. The 501st is pretty goated. Also, their name as a unit under Darth Vader is Vader's Fist, which is just pretty epic in itself in my opinion. Anyways, watch the movies. Anyways, let's move on to the multiplayer portion of this vintage game. Starting with Galactic Conquest, in this mode you can command a fleet through the galaxy conquering and protecting planets. When two opposing fleets reach the same planet, the game switches to traditional play, and the player must eliminate the enemy team in order to gain control over that planet. Next, with regular conquest, this objective is to capture the command posts and diminish the other team's numbers until they are gone. This was a popular mode because of its simplicity. Next is capture the flag, which you could play with the option of 1 or 2 flags. If you played with 1 flag, this was for both teams to fight over and return to their base as many times as possible. If you played with 2 flags, the objective remained the same, but this time you had to protect your own flag as well as to prevent it from being taken by the enemy team. Another game mode is 2 versions of Assault, Hero Assault and Space Assault. Hero Assault is a mode where the player can play as and against the most famous Star Wars characters, which are divided into heroes and villains. This was always my personal favorite game mode just because of how cool I felt playing as these characters such as Obi-Wan and Darth Vader. Speaking of Obi-Wan, I don't really know what's happening here. But in reality I do, because Anakin just got wrecked. Go back to Tatooine, loser. Anywho, the other form of assault was Space Assault, which allowed you to control starfighters in order to dismantle critical systems on the opponent's ship. I was always amazed by how detailed these games were for how early on they were being developed in the 2000s. I still wish to this day that I could just be a Jedi in a galaxy far, far away, flying on a ship and not giving a hey. Sorry. And lastly, our final game mode, which is called Hunt, where players can battle with factions that are not normally playable, but played a minor part in the Star Wars franchise, such as Tusken Raiders versus Jawas and the Wampas versus the Rebel units. I have still failed to mention that in Battlefront 2, you can play in 2 different eras, one being the Clone Wars era, which is the same time period as the prequels, in which the battles take place between the Galactic Republic, the Clone Troopers, and the Confederacy of Independent Systems, which are the droids. The other era takes place during the original trilogy, the Galactic Civil War. The battles are between the Rebel Alliance, which are the Luke Skywalker peeps, and the Galactic Empire, who are the Darth Vader peeps. There are 2 types of people in this world. Going further into depth, there is a variety of different units that you can choose from for your player to head to battle with. The most basic unit is the Standard Infantry. They are equipped with a full auto blaster rifle, blaster pistol, and thermal detonators, which is just a grenade, as you can see here. The Standard Infantry unit is great at mid-range. This is the most common unit that is seen on the Battlefront. Get it? I said the thing. Battlefront. Another unit available to use is the Assault Trooper. The Assault Trooper carries a heavier load and is equipped with a rocket launcher that can lock onto vehicles, mines, and thermal detonators. This class is best used for demolition and destroying vehicles and crowd control. They are less of fighters and more of master distractionists that target a different part of the battle. Next, we have the Sniper unit. Equipped with the sniper rifle, blaster pistol, and once again a thermal detonator, they also have a little extra automated blaster turret too. This unit spawns in with less health than others, but only because they can do so much damage if the player is a sharpshooter. They are faster than other units and best at long range battle. Lastly, we have the Engineer unit. As an engineer, you are equipped with a shotgun, fusion cutter, remote explosives, and a health and ammo dispenser. They can repair vehicles and turrets, slice enemy vehicles, and give teammates health and ammo. They are best at short range gameplay. Those are the main units, but some of the unique units that are also included in this game would be the Jet Trooper, Destroyer Droid, Wookiee Warrior, and Dark Trooper. Well, that's all the time I have today for you Pixel Peekers. I have enjoyed taking a trip back to my childhood with the simple gameplay and even the audio that triggers memories of crisscross applesauce in the living room with a box TV in front of me. Now, if you'll excuse me, I'll be taking a little trip to Yavin 4, so this has been Connor Lim signing off with your Retro Rewind. Peace!
Wow, Connor did a great job showing us Battlefront.
Oh, Elena, I think we're getting a call.
Oh, really? From who?
I don't know. Uh-huh. 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 Elena, it's video games.
Oh my god, video games are calling?
Video games are calling, and we have to go.
Sorry, I've been Elena Jones.
I've been Kylie Carner.
And this was Pixel Peek.
Pixel Peek!